Hey, I'm Gene Goldman. Here's a look at the week ahead for the week of February 5th. Last week, U.S. stocks were very volatile. For example, we saw a sharp drop on Wednesday, and then we saw a huge rally in U.S. stocks on Thursday. Primarily, this is all driven by comments from the Fed on Wednesday saying they're not likely to cut interest rates in the month of March, but then the bounce back in stocks was driven by optimism over corporate earnings. So turning to this week, let's focus instead not on the Fed or on earnings, but let's focus on the economy. In particular, I want to talk about two areas of the economy that are struggling, but are now stabilizing and showing some improvement. That's housing and manufacturing. So the key point is that while we don't expect a recession in 2024, even if we did have one, in our opinion, it'll be likely very mild because both areas in recession, housing and manufacturing, are showing signs of improving already. So let's start with housing. So the lack of inventory, the fact that Fed has raised rates over the past 2 years has put housing in a recession. The good news though, however, is you see here, mortgage rates are falling. This should drive some demand for housing. Good news. Also, as you look at this next slide, building permits, and these are permits filed by builders to build a new home, have dropped dramatically into the recession, into the housing recession. But now you look on the right-hand side, these are surging. Think about this stat. In the past 12 months, building permits for new single-family homes are up 33%. Housing is back, in our opinion. Now let's turn to manufacturing. Manufacturing has basically been in a recession because we aren't buying as many goods. As you see here, the PMI manufacturing index, which sort of gives you a health of the overall manufacturing sector, has been below 50 or in contraction for about the last 15 straight months. We did get a little bit of a rise in the last reading to 49.1, and that reading was the strongest reading since October of 2022. But then if we turn to this next chart, this optimism, our optimism around manufacturing is driven by a jump in the most forward-looking component of that PMI. The new orders component now is above the 50 level. That's great news. So we believe the downturn in manufacturing sector looks like it won't last too much longer. So the overall takeaway this week is that we don't envision a recession in 2024, primarily because areas in recession today, like housing and manufacturing, are stabilizing and even recovering. Plus, something I didn't talk about, the labor market remains so robust. This is good news for the economy. So even if I'm wrong and we have a recession, when you take all this data together, housing, manufacturing coming back, strong GDP, strong labor market, taking all this together, we feel that even if we do have a recession, it should be pretty mild. Thank you for listening. For more information, please follow us on Twitter at CeteraIM, and see you next week. And thank you so much.